What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Sweet, man. Still holding your QQQ puts. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. So I want to kind of jump directly into everything. Quickly, obviously, want to go over, guys. We've been flushing super hard this morning. This is obviously on fears of, we have the geopolitical fears, which involve, Russia invading the Ukraine. We have the Fed tightening. We also have, impending interest rate hikes. And obviously, guys, the Fed meeting on Wednesday is not helping. But this is a serious flush that we're seeing. QQQ already down 2.18% pre-market after a big bounce last night. Pre-market high in QQQ was 354. I am going to say I think we see a bounce off of the open. I'm not saying I am going long today. I'm saying risk reward wise, right? Let's look at the daily chart here on QQQ. We have a major area of support here at 342.25, right? This was where we broke out back in 2021 in April, 341 area. If we do not bounce at 342, things are going to get really, really ugly. Right, I don't know what else to say. There's a major gap down, right, which where I don't see where we're going to see a lot of support, maybe 330, right? You start really starting to flush, like names making serious moves to the downside. So, guys, my plan off open is we are flushing into that 342 level as we speak right now. My plan is I'm going to take some lotto size calls, probably directly off of the open, right? I'm going to try probably the 350 calls off of open, maybe 348 calls. Directly off open. If we do not see a somewhat decent bounce, right, then I'll exit, but I'm going to keep it lotto size long side because you never know what can happen, right? So we could knife it open and take down 10 points. I'm not going to take a big position on this long side. What I am thinking is a possibility is a move, right, a bounce off of 342, possibly, right, into this 346 to 348 area. This is the area where I will look to short that bounce and possibly see him move down past low of the day. I do not like chasing direction off open. Oftentimes when we flush this hard into the open, we do see that bounce. So my plan, again, if we can hold over 342 off open, going to take those lotto size calls. I do not want to chase that either though, right? It only works for me if we, get that quick flush right down to 343, right, which is our pre-market low now. Off that level, trying some calls there. That doesn't work. Again, lotto size off open. That's where I would take some size on a short position, right, on puts is off of this 347 to 348 area. 348 is going to be that big area to regain. I would be surprised if we get back over 347, but that would be my target on a bounce. The same holds true for the S&P 500 here, guys. SPY, same type of deal, right? 429, major level, right? On the daily, we look at the daily. Okay, 429 into 426, huge level, right? We've already cracked that major support, which I talked about. We're pushing 430 here. I like the risk reward on QQQ better, but again, 426 is the level to watch in my opinion on SPY. That would be our, double check so I don't misspeak, the September of 2021 lows. Obviously, we haven't been here in a while. That is some crazy selling volume on the daily, guys. I would just say be careful. Be smart, right? Like, don't think it has to bounce, right? It doesn't have to bounce. Is the likelihood that we maybe see a quick relief bounce off open? Yeah, but it's probably going to be a pop and fade, right? I'm not trying to predict. I'm just saying at this level on QQQ and SPY, I'm going to try calls off open, small size. As far as other names that I'm watching today, I'm going to get through these pretty quickly because I'm going to probably focus on the indices with the volume that we have currently. Okay, 226 bounce on NVIDIA. That would be a short area for me. If we do not retake 226 and into 230, that's a problem area. Again, short bias for me under 230. Could see a pop over that 226.11 level. But again, bigger picture trades with size, I'm looking short. Even with the flush pre-market, guys. I'm saying I'm going to try long off open, but again, just have to be safe. Amazon is the other one. Big flush down already. If you swung those 2,500 puts, probably recommend closing those off open is what I'm going to do more than likely. And then wait for this bounce into the 2800 area, right? So 2816. Awesome bounce would be to 2874. And then short that bounce off of that level, because that is the key level on the weekly chart, right? So off that weekly chart, 2080.74 is that key level off of Amazon. Yeah, I still have my mark calls, but I'll probably exit today with the volatility. So, all right. As far as other names that I'm looking at, Amazon is that big one under that weekly level. If we regain that weekly level at 2874, just remember, I think we could see 3,000 again. But my main focus here on Amazon, right, is going to be closing the majority of those puts off open. And then I'm going to look for a bounce to the 2816 level. Decent area to retake short side move there on Amazon. Other names that you could consider looking at today that I think would have some, decent prospects short side, Apple. This is going to be a relative strength name until it isn't, right? It's already nearing that 157 target that I've talked about. For me, I want to wait for a bounce, ideally to 162, but I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities here today on Apple, so no need to rush into that. But again, Apple under 157.49, that's the big level, right? We've talked about that on Sunday Scan. Again, this is going to be a kind of a regurgitation of Sunday Scan, but factoring in where we're at currently. So again, under 157 is the big breakdown. For me, though, would love to see a bounce up to 162.41, retake short side. But you could consider calls off open. I would rather just take the calls on QQQ rather than try to mess with Apple. As far as relative strength goes, Macy's is one that there's talk of them being acquired by a couple different companies. Obviously, retailers kind of up big in this market, in pre-market, off that acquisition news with Kohl's. So where I would look here is over 25.15. You could consider the 27 calls, just one to keep on your radar. But again, guys, Tesla is another one that I do have on my secondary focus list today. It is nearing that major support at 885. If we do not hold 885, obviously, guys, that's going to be a major breakdown. And we talked about this again on the scan, but Tesla under 885, this one is a little bit different. We're heading into earnings here, right? So just remember that it's going to have some type of relative strength because it's going to kind of run up probably into that earnings. Maybe it doesn't because of this market, but I'm just saying it's not one of my top picks. Also, the premiums are factoring in earnings, so I'd rather just not trade those premiums as much. Again, my focus would just be the QQQ, both sides, right? And I want to go over that plan one more time on QQQ here. So obviously, this is kind of going to be the important one. It's kind of what everybody wants to know. We're already bouncing a little bit too much here for me to, still consider that. But I'm going to try lotto size calls off of open. I'm going to look at the 348 and 350 calls. I'm going to try the 350 calls off open lotto size, guys. I would like to see a move to 343 and hold. That is our pre-market low. As we talk about all the time, it is so important to mark your pre-market low, right? 343.89 pre-market low. Ideally, maybe a small flush down to 344. Either way, I'm going to try lotto size calls off open. This is more so I can get a feel for the market. If that feels really stiff and really heavy and we're just not seeing that action, that would, that's where I can, hopefully get a bounce to 347. That's where we'd like to take it short, ideally, from my perspective. But again, going long with lotto size off open when you see a big flush like this is just the best risk reward, especially off a major support like 342. As I mentioned on the daily chart, we have huge support there on QQQ, right? Because that was our previous breakout high. Obviously, we're going to see some support at 342. For me, the risk reward is just better long side off of the open currently. But again, that also gives you a nice neutral bias because you're in very small lotto size calls. You're not going to look at the shorts as, a bias short, even though I'm thinking the market can see further downside. Right? You wait for that bounce, sell into some strength. Hopefully we get those short covers off open. That's what we want to see is kind of that quick spike in buying volume. I'm thinking that lotto long side trade will be maybe the first 5-minute candle, possibly the first 2 or 3 5-minute candles. And then hopefully, again, for me, short bias is under 348.30. Same holds true for NVIDIA. Under 330 or 230.77, that's short bias for me on NVIDIA. Ideally thinking maybe we test 226.11. If we get over 226.11 here on NVIDIA, decent opportunity for a short or a long side scalp up to 229, 230. If we do not hold 230 though, remember guys, that is where I consider that short bias kind of into play, and any bounce in this 230 area would be ideal to kind of size in, and then we get that short side move. So that is going to be my main focus setups for this morning. 1 second, guys. Sorry guys, someone decided to turn the heat all the way up in my in our building today. So, but again, this is a good day to keep your calm. You do not want to be overly emotional. Do not oversize at the start of a day like this. You want to just kind of keep things cool, calm, collected, and really take advantage of the A+ opportunity, which is not necessarily going to be off the open, right? So again, sit back, wait for the opportunity to come. Again, my plan, very simple, right? Small, long size off open. If we continue to hold in this area, it does look like NVIDIA wants to reject at this 345 level, or QQQ wants to reject at this 345 level currently. Again, flush to 343, 342. That's where I would consider long side, like for a scalp, right? Like quick, small size, and then ideally we get a bounce up to 348. Take it short there. If we don't see a bounce, right, then we want to wait for under 342 because that's that daily level. So that's my plan on QQQ. I'm going to keep it simple on days with really big volatility like this. Honestly, your best bet is going to probably be the indexes and the indices. I know it can be a little bit frustrating, and you don't have to trade the 0 days. If you don't want to take 0 day expirations, take 2 days out, right? Take 3 days out, or take the end of the week, right? So trade what fits your style. Just because I call a 0 day doesn't mean that you have to take it, right? I might, say it's high confidence, but at the end of the day, it's 0 day expiration. So obviously I have to size accordingly. Again, quickly want to go over plan on Mara. I'm locking it off open. I'm not going to, it's another thing for me to think about. And one thing I don't like to do is think about is swings. And I swung this over the weekend. It's going to probably be up 300% off open. I'm taking my profits. It's already consolidating in this 19 area. I don't want to get caught in a bigger bounce and give back any gains. This is going to be a fantastic start to the week for a lot of you guys, I know. So my plan here off open on Mara, I'm locking it all. Don't wait for me to tell you the exit because I'm locking it off open in that first 1 minute candle, right? So just keep that in mind. I'm closing all my Mara puts off open. This is going to be a huge win to start the week. Take it. You'll have some cushion automatically. So if you make a mistake, and on a day like with supreme volatility like this, that can happen, you're already up for the week. So I'm locking Mara off open. I'm probably going to lock the remainder of my Amazon puts off open. Whenever we see a big flush like this, I'm definitely thinking slight bounce long side, right? So that's my plan. Again, with QQQ, I know it's hard to give you guys up to the minute, but going to look for maybe a possible double bottom to form here at 343, and then look for that quick move up. Again, want to wait for A-plus opportunity. Don't want to chase an entry ever. So no chasing short side, especially down 2% already pre-market. Wait for that little relief bounce and then take advantage. So I will see you guys at Open in Twitter and Discord, and then on the live at 3 p.m. for Power Hour stream. Peace, guys.